I'm here with Austin Strain. I'm here with Ron Gardner. I'm here with Brendan Hines, again, who's the SE for
Jelly Roll.
I'm here with Ron Gardner. Ron Gardner's amazing. I love this man. He is such an incredible man. And I'm so thankful for you just because you were at the beginning of my career with this and you kind of took a chance and letting me do this. So thank you for doing that. It's gone a long way since then. No. I'm so very thankful. And you're
a lot of the homies out there with you.
Dude, and you're still a stupid busy man.
Yeah.
I don't know how you do it because so he's front of house. You also TM. Are you PM as well?
No, we have a production manager.
You're a production manager now? Because last time you were doing all three hats, weren't you?
Ish. Last time when I had been doing all three, but we had just hired Eddie Kircher and he'd come in. So
this has blown up since that little shed in there, man.
Yeah, we're 22 trucks and 14 buses now.
Congratulations, man. That's like everyone's dream, truly. So I feel like you're gonna I said this before, isn't there some point you're gonna have to make a choice of which side of the aisle you're gonna do? Which one's your favorite?
Favorite?
Yes.
Obviously mixing. That's the fun part. I like tour managing most of the time.
Yeah.
But, mixing is my vacation from tour managing during the day. So
I love the relationship that you have with Brandon.
Yeah.
And that you have so much trust in him that you can actually do everything.
Well, that's the only way I'd be able to still do both.
Because without that, you wouldn't be able to No. It's pretty incredible, actually. I don't want to say white glove by any means, because you're
It's that aspect of the job. It's at the utmost white glove.
But it's incredible. It's not like you're doing it on a because I'm I'm gonna go sleep in the bus, but you're legit.
No, sleeping at a desk.
your phone's blowing up right now with I don't know how many text messages. Yeah. So it's just the fact that you have the trust and to be able to do that with him is incredible. What advice do you have for other TM front of house people that are doing it and having a hard time balancing it and feeling burnt out right now?
Well, the only reason it works for me is, like I said, I love doing sound so much. So I look forward to that every day. The hour and a half that we have the show is my chance to have fun, and kind of reset and clear my mind of all the stuff I've been dealing with all day. So have a nice cold drink, listen to the crowd, watch a great show.
I'm honestly super encouraged by seeing you and seeing at the level at which you're doing it. I would have burnt out or been tapped out or been so stressed out. How do you keep your calm through all of this? Or do you just love being in the chaos?
Chaos, some people thrive in chaos. I'm definitely tired. This year's the most. I'll have to get you the stats. We're adding up every performance and stuff that we've done this year to see, but it's definitely over 150.
It's been more and more and more and more and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. Are you afraid that at some point you're just gonna pass out because it's so much?
No. You run on adrenaline.
Yeah.
A lot of excitement.
How do you keep your balance? Because being out on the road is definitely not reality. How do you keep your foot and keep grounded into reality and into?
I'll let you know when I get to go home.
When's the last time you've been home?
Dude, I haven't been in my house probably 3 or 4 months at this point.
Jeez, man.
Yeah, my girlfriend, she's great. She's flown out to see me when we have the 2 days off here and there. So.
Favorite part of the show?
Oh. All of it, really. The opening's insane. You'll see that tonight. Yeah. I hope you stick around for the whole thing because the closing is just as
I've heard you have a house that burns and rains and it's just it keeps growing and evolving and it's incredible, man. It truly is. Seriously. Now, tell me a little about you got some new stuff out this time.
We've got, I think I had the Portico last time. We have the Manly Vox Box now. That wasn't there, was it?
No, the bigger stuff.
Oh, the new Adamson PA. Yes. Love it.
Okay. What made you choose to do this? Because you're doing some beta testing with this, correct?
Yeah. No, we obviously put Brendan in the pressure cooker a little bit.
Yeah, you did.
It was funny. I went to a shootout at Lidditz, and We had the old Adamson array, which we were familiar with because we toured with it all year and we loved it. And then the new one, and I just side by side, same height, zeroed out all the EQs, just box to box. The new one sounded better, and that's when I called Brendan and was like, "Hey, I think you could probably sing with this thing, you know?"
Yeah. You were telling me about that you went out there, and when everybody left, you went back. And
Yeah.
You spent more time.
Yeah,
with
we
it.
all went to dinner, and I left the dinner and went and played with the speakers.
I love that you're not satisfied with just normalcy, and you want to grow, and you want to do the next best with this.
I can't wait to hear this PA outside. Obviously, every arena sounds different, so there's reflections, there's nodes, there's, things that are challenging in every arena, but I haven't been able to hear this PA outside yet without any of those factors, so I'm really excited.
Looking back a year ago from that shed to now, what do you think is the biggest difference?
Bigger crowds.
What has been the hardest challenge for you personally to it?
On this tour in particular, we have 2 stage thrusts, and they happen to be right in line with the PA. So there's a lot of live mics up there, acoustic guitars, there's background singers, there's guest performers that have no concept of where not to point a microphone. So every day it's a battle of, all right, let's pull those frequencies and not make it sound too dark and not have it go off feedback. But then the whole thing starts to get dark. So then, that's been the biggest challenge.
Have you switched your mic setup from last time? Because I think you were on Sennheiser's last time.
We're still on the Sennheiser capsule. We just ended up doing the Shure wireless.
Okay. What's next?
I don't know, man.
Who
knows? Yeah.
Just conquer the world next?
No, we have a Canada tour next year, so that'll be in the coldest part of the year, in March.
Okay.
So that'll be freezing, but we're excited to get out of the country and spread the love other places.
What was the last song you mixed that made you emotional in a good way?
Every night. Yeah.
What's the trick to not making it feel getting old or getting tired of the same thing over and over?
Because every set's different. He'll relate to someone different in the audience and affect people differently. It's crazy.
With being able to be with one artist and stick with that, that's kind of every engineer's dream. What has been your success with Joey to be able to stay with us for the longevity, and he really trusts you and this whole crew? Like, you can see how they really admire you and put a lot of trust into you. What's been your trick for that?
Just working hard,
Yeah.
Got to keep working hard.
Yeah.
I'm not the tour manager that'll take his room before everybody else's room. I'll sit in the lobby until they get their rooms.
Best piece of advice you've gotten from one of your mentors?
Take out the Adamson PA.
Well, I know you're busy. Your phone's blasting. Thank you so much for your time.
No, absolutely.
I
Come
really
see the
appreciate
show.
you.
Check it out.
Let's do a recap a year from now.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll be in a van and trailer with a band called 68 because they're amazing.
Is it another band?
No, joking.
Oh, okay.
They're actually from Atlanta. Here. It's a band called 68, Josh Goggins. You should check them out.
We will.
It's a 2-person band.
Okay.
A drummer and a guy that plays guitar, vocals, bass, everything on one. They're insane.
If people want to follow you and follow your career, where can I follow you at?
I'm not very good at socials.
So come to a Jelly Roll show near you.
Yeah, come
Poke
say
him
hi.
with a stick. See Brendan. Come say hi. He's an amazing guy. Thank you so much for having me, man. You're awesome.
Hell yeah.
I'm here with Brendan Hines again, who's the SE for
Jelly Roll.
It is way different this time than last time.
A little bit.
Last time we were in a shed, and had that black tarp over us, and it was like 120 degrees in there. It was so hot. I think I lost like 5 pounds.
I think it was Mississippi, man.
I think you're right, actually.
Mississippi in the middle of the summer, it's a good place.
Yeah.
It's hot.
It is way different. We got a way different view. More
Yeah.
people, more stuff. Tell me about it. What's changed since then?
Well, we have a new PA, a lot more of it.
Yeah.
It's a lot higher in the air. And we're playing with a new product. And it seems to be a lot of fun so far.
Can you share with us a little bit about it?
Well, it's the new Adamson product. It's called VGT. It's their new large format box. It has a new software and a bunch of components that go along with it. It's all AVB. It's all self-powered, so there's no amplifiers. And program it, tune it, and have a good day.
I love it.
It's in the simplest form. Hi, Art. Doing lovely.
I thought he was coming at me. More trucks this time.
Yeah, I think in total, with the couple of opening acts that we have right now, we're at 20.
Okay. Last time you're not at 20.
No, I think we were at 8 last time.
Yeah. A lot's changed since then. He's been really skyrocketing with it.
Yeah.
So your approach to SE from then to now, is it still kind of the same approach to going from a shed to a venue at this large? Is there a little bit more of pre-production you have to do to it, or advancing, for something like this?
Well, there's a lot more involved in drawing the venue, obviously, because it's, bigger. I wouldn't say drawing it, but measuring it and then putting it into the software for it to, articulate the PA. So there's more work involved with that and the amount of it, but it's still the same process. There's just a little bit more of it.
Okay. So people who haven't seen that first video, talk to me about your tuning process. What do you do?
Well, I mean, I have a so-called, if you will, curve that I try to achieve every day. And as long as I'm somewhere close to that, that's where we start. And then we correct from there. It's really no different from the last time. In this case, I have.
Okay.
Just for the simple fact that, with the new product and going through all of its changes, because some of the software is beta that we're using, so not everybody gets to hear what we're hearing as far as preset wise and stuff like that. So things change, as the software changes, or I change things. So I'm playing with it.
Yeah.
And as I get it to make it work. I can't say that they're all winners, but trying to get it there to where it is more predictable in the future, if you will.
Yeah. So
but every room's different too.
Okay, I want to talk about that a little bit, because before you were in a shed, and now there's multiple layers and multiple areas for sound to trap, and it's hard to keep consistency throughout an entire venue of this size. How do you keep consistency through it, and what are some of the tricks that you do to be able to make it sound?
Well, the biggest trick that's not really a trick, is having a budget and having been able to have enough PA to cover it from top to bottom without having to make what I'm going to call sacrifices. Because when you don't have a big box count like we do, you make a sacrifice. And sometimes the people up top don't get what the people in the middle and below get. Because, it's a 16 box count versus a 24 box count. It's a big difference. That's 8 boxes. That's a lot of footage.
Yeah. Especially
Especially when you're trimmed high in the air. You're not going to have any coverage down front if you cover the back of the room and all the way up.
How many boxes for this?
In our main arrays, we have 24 in the left and the right.
Okay.
So it's 24 deep on each side. So you have 48 cabinets facing you.
Okay.
At least down here anyway. And down here and up there, anywhere in the main field, yeah.
So what's your advice to, first up, what's your advice to audio engineers that want to understand more of the SE side of things?
You have to dig into it and get it. I mean, everybody has a process, just like, if you will, if you're in the opening act coming in here. All because I tune it for you every day doesn't mean you shouldn't do your own thing that you would normally do. For the simple fact is that I tune it for our show and for what we do. And it might work for you and you might like it, or maybe it doesn't. Maybe you don't want all of that. Maybe you want to try to do your own thing. Not that we're not receptive to that, but typically people just go with, what we've put down and try to work on top of that, because it's pretty much reasonable as far as the curve goes. It's not anything wild or crazy, but this is a loud show. And I do mean loud. Our front of house is at 147 feet away from the downstage edge, or sometimes at 160 feet from the downstage edge, and we're running at high SPLs. It's hard to do that.
What are you typically running it to?
We run beyond 103 A-weighted most of the time, and that's sustained like over a minute.
That's a loud show.
And it's a live show, but also we're competing with a lot of crowd noise too, because these crowds are extremely enthusiastic.
Yeah, that's the other thing I was going to mention, that like the more people, the more of the noise floor kind of adds.
Oh yeah,
to it.
Noise floor in one certain area, because that crowd noise is all between, say, 500 and like 2K, and when they roar, I mean, it's amazing how loud it is. Man. Oh my, the crowd noise alone will make you want to just plug your ears. It's incredibly loud.
Man, okay, so
I don't care how much you got. It's hard to beat this many people, but you have 12,000, 13,000 people screaming. It's hard to beat it.
Okay. So I know I have a lot of audio engineers who watch this channel, a lot of SEs, but I think an interesting phase in an audio engineer's life is the console du jour, PA du jour. I know that was tough in my career because I felt like I was
fun.
I wasn't really an expert at either, but somebody from your expertise of being able to be a systems engineer, I always felt like that was something I was super lacking on and wasn't able to really hone that in. What is your advice to people in that club, in that smaller environment that maybe have a tough time?
Well, that's where
getting
the process comes from, like being an opening act or whatever act coming in, is that in tuning the PA, going through it, looking at, talking with whoever the guy is at the club and having hopefully them giving you access to their processor or processing whatever it is. And you don't have to do it yourself, but ask them to do it for you. Oh, hey, I'm only going to start with the left side. Can we mute everything else and just give me the left? And, like with the subs, if you're going to tune it, not all the whole block of subs, but only one half, and then see the summation with the rest of it. This is how you find the flaws in other people's deployments and this and that and the other thing. Not that you can fix it, end all be all. It starts with the physical, but there's a lot we can do these days with electronics as far as a time delay and checking and making sure everything is delayed and in time. And there's some sort of an EQ curve going on. It's not just like all low, mid, heavy and nasty. And, you're going to end up carving all of that out of your mix. Again, it's one of these things, I think I've said it before, is know your mix. Because if you know your mix and you know what you're listening to, you're going to know whether the issue is your mix or the PA. You'll notice it the minute you fire it up.
Okay, so settle this for me. There's a lot of talk, and I've heard this over the map from I use a reference track to I only use Pink to I only use a 58 and I'll walk around. And I've heard all of them. I know that.
Sure, you can do any combination of that.
So what's your personal preference?
I literally, for the most part, there are several songs that I might repeat, but I will usually pick a new song every day.
Really?
A new song.
Over virtual sound check, or is it just a
No, virtual sound check is something that's a luxury that not everybody gets to do and not everybody gets to have. And that's okay and that's fine and that's great, but you pick up all the noise that you had at your show last night, and all of that stuff that affects what you get tonight. It's a great generalization, but it's just like us listening to a song that you tune with. It's a great generalization. If you take any song, I don't care what it is, if it was made in the last 30 years or more, you've heard it on the radio. We've all heard it on the radio. You've heard it in a car. You've heard it in headphones. Whatever maybe you heard it in a podcast. Maybe you heard it in the background of a TV show. Whatever it is, you've heard it before. It should be intelligible. If you fire it up and you play a song after whatever running Pink noise through it, and it sounds like it's got a blanket over it, is it the song, the material you're actually listening to? Do you know what you're listening to as far as where it comes from? And it is actually a hi-fi track, number one. And number two, is it the way the PA's tuned? Okay, great, that didn't work out. How does my voice sound on a microphone? Oh, it is low, mid, heavy, and boomy. Again, that's just me and a microphone and flat. So there's something, again, back to your tune. Yeah, you can do any and all of those things, but know what you're listening to. It should sound like a high definition FM radio. I don't care if it's Tom Petty. I don't care if you're listening to some electronic music. You don't have to have the subs or anything on yet, not the whole system, just your main array.
Yeah.
That's it. Not everybody has a system like we have here that, left, right, main, flown, sub, auxiliary, rear hang, 32 subs underneath the stage. Not everybody has all of that. Yeah. It doesn't matter. It should sound like a big home stereo, first and foremost, period, end of the day. If you can't start with at least that, man, you might as well go back to Hi-Fi Buys or Circuit City or some whatever little and listen to a stereo and figure out what a stereo is supposed to sound like.
Yeah.
Because that's what it should sound like, is a big home stereo. It really should. If you can't start with at least that, there's some other fundamental issues going on. You don't need a smart rig to figure that out.
So one thing is special, I think, about you and Ron is the trust that you guys have. Ron does a lot of different things in this tour, and he relies a lot on you for a lot of stuff. Mm-hmm. There are things, I think, with an SC that it is not just tuning a PA that goes on to help set up somebody else for success. Can you walk me through a little bit of what you do besides just doing an EQ curve?
Oh, as far as just more than like setting up the PA, tuning the PA, all
Correct.
of that. So I'm also, if you will, the front of house tech.
Yep.
So as far as like setting up the console, I line check the band, sound check the band. I input list things, whatever. Add inputs, take inputs away. Adjust gates, comps. whatever. I do anything that any engineer would do to work with a band, even do the line check, even the sound check. If Ron doesn't show up for the sound check, I bring it up. Whatever they work on new songs, I'm the one who puts, if you will, a twist on the mix to get it to where he just can walk up to it, and it's fundamental with everything else that we're doing. Yeah, I'm the setup guy. I set him up. I'm, the co-driver.
Do you have any desire to mix?
It's fun for me, but my let's just say short attention span theater. It's not that I can't do it, but sometimes mentally you check out, and it's just like, where am I now? You wake up 10 seconds later and it was 10 minutes, but that's not really the case. But yeah, I don't know. I'm not that consistent at it. I'm consistent in other things. That's why I do what I do. I'm a great setup guy.
What is the best concert you have heard sonically?
The best one is the quietest one, to be honest with you. Seriously, it is. Anybody can do it at high volume, to be honest. It's not that, you take enthusiastic crowds away. But if you will, to take it back a bunch of years from my experience anyway, is that go in a casino lounge environment where you have to keep it at 95 dB or less.
Yeah.
And you got wedges coming off the stage at 89 or 90 dB with all the trash that comes off of a wedge mix, and have to put up some little, if you will, club mix at a low volume. It's extremely hard to do. It's super hard to do.
Coming from a headliner SE, what are some of the mistakes that you see opener audio engineers make?
A lot of people, again, the biggest mistake is that if you know your mix, if you worked on whatever near field monitors and built a mix because you had rehearsal time where you're used to playing in this one place with this one PA, and that's what you're used to, that's the goal that you have to achieve want to achieve every time, because that's what you're familiar with. Until you get into a different box where again, you have like a high quality set of monitors that translate to whatever PA that you might be working with, especially as the PAs get larger as you progress. You'll notice that you're doing all this stuff on your console to correct what's wrong with the PA because maybe you don't have a system processor. All you have is like the EQ31 band on your Behringer M32 to whack a bunch of stuff out. Well, again, are you taking it out of the mix to correct a room problem, or are you taking it out of the graphic EQ to correct the room and then leaving it in your mix? This is the biggest battle I see, because you look at someone's console. Again, it's not analog back like it was in the old days, but you could look at someone's console and go, oh, they're pulling out a lot of stuff all in this one general area. I should take that out of the PA. You could put that back in your mix. Because, things build up in rooms. Room has nodes, things like that. A lot of people aren't cognitively thinking about that when they're not used to that, especially being in a club environment and having to battle what's coming off the stage. This is the difference between live sound reinforcement and mixing. We're in a big room. The stage, there's nothing to compete with here except for a couple of amplifiers and some drum noise. Shrink this down into a little club room and everything changes. It's kick, drum, and vocal. And well, luckily with these guys, they're all fractaled up, so there's no amps on stage, there's no bass amp on stage, so you can actually put that stuff in the PA. But if you didn't and had to compete with all of the noise coming off the stage, you're doing live sound reinforcement. That's not mixing. That's a totally different concept. Again, you have to be cognizant of that. And that's the difference in being in an amphitheater, and even with a rock and roll band, dealing with the stage volume and what happens in an amphitheater versus a club, being in a theater. Again, same kind of thing. You got this big, huge, tall thing that's really short. And what you hear down here is not what you hear up here. Concepts are totally different. So you could take this in many different facets, but it's all environmental. It depends on where you are and what's going on. So take it any way you want, but there's several different ways to look at it. So which one do we really want to study?
What piece of advice do you give to system engineers that immediately make their lives easier?
Learn how to do it right and pay attention to the details, because it's all about details. Anybody can do the basics of it, but you have to be methodical all the way through it. That's what makes you good. That's what makes you grow. That's what makes you better.
Yeah. How long have you been doing this for?
Like altogether, like
Touring.
the sum of it, touring like in this world, for the last 12 years, 13 years.
What's been your key to success in maintaining this lifestyle without going nuts?
Vigilance and keep teaching myself. And sometimes you just got to let it go.
What's the best way for an SC to learn, like you said, to learn and understand it? Like, where can they go and what tools can they use?
Man, the basic tools are the best tools. You can throw all the money at it you want, but if you don't know how to use it, it doesn't matter.
Sure.
Because if you do measure it right and do all the stuff that you're supposed to do when you get educated, you know, let's just say some people are like, you're stuck with manufacturer X, right? Because you go with what you know, and that's fine. But when you're a company guy, I get thrown at a lot of different things. Yes, I may be better at one than I am at the other, but sometimes when you learn one, the other one is backwards from that.
Sure.
And you have to change your mindset, not your workflow, but your mindset.
Yeah.
Or when it's a new product, you all of a sudden, you have to step out of the box. You have to be willing to step out of the box. Everything's a format, right? You just have to learn how to take your format and move it into another realm. And it's that. It's hard to do. It really is. It's a mind game, all in itself. Imagine being thrown a new software and the only time you can actually really use it is when you're online with the product. You can have it at home. You can get it. You can download it right now. But to actually use it to what it's really capable of, you have to be online with that product. And I mean online, you actually have to have the product hooked up to it and actually work with it. Otherwise, it doesn't do anything for you other than it's a bunch of graphical nonsense on a screen. It doesn't make sense until you're actually there in front of it. It's tangible. You can do something with it. Oh, I can make noise come out of it. You know, I can actually patch this, and this together. Otherwise, it's just an equipment list and little boxes that you tick. Okay, great, I got that. But make it work now in reality. That's the hardest part.
Yeah.
And having the infrastructure to be able to put it together, like this monstrosity, if it was not a monstrosity, but there's a lot of infrastructure going on here. What about all of that? Then you have to put it all together. And that's the biggest difference in here, at least with me. I also designed it. So I'm the one who was with the creatives and this and that and the other thing and had to meet criteria and da-da-da-da-da. So it's that's a lot of fun. You have to take all of that on. That brings everything else into it. It's not just coming out here. A lot of times you don't have the luxury of designing your own rig. It's somebody else said this is what you're going to be using, and this is how it's going to be. And even though this was like built and put together for us, I had a lot of say in what went on, and you know it's all right there in the back of my head. So I know it. That's the biggest battle. When you get to build it, you get to touch it, you get to know it really, really well. And that even helps you more. Build it and know it. And not everybody can just walk in and operate the software. That's easy. Anybody can do that. But what about all the rest of it?
Yeah.
You got to be able to put it up, deploy it, and make it work the way it's supposed to.
Yeah.
It's not just the software.
Well, if people want to follow you and follow your career, where can they follow you at?
I really don't do social media, honestly. There's nowhere really to follow me. You want to come to see what I do, come see a show.
Come to a Jelly Roll show near you. Thank you so much for having me, man.
Thank you, sir.
I appreciate seeing you again.
Yeah, man.